Before Columbus, before Magellan, imagine a fleet of ships so massive they dwarfed anything Europe had built. We're talking about vessels over 400 feet long, sailing from China all the way to Africa. They carried silks, porcelains, and thousands of men. They even brought back giraffes as gifts for the emperor. This was the fleet of Zheng He, the admiral who commanded the seas. And then, almost overnight, China destroyed it all. They burned the ships, erased the records, and turned their back on the world. Why would a global superpower deliberately erase its own golden age of exploration? Today, we're uncovering the secrets of Zheng He's lost fleet. Zheng He was no ordinary sailor. He was a eunuch admiral, a trusted court official of the mighty Ming Dynasty. From 1405 to 1433, under the order of the younger emperor, he led 7 epic voyages. This wasn't just a handful of ships. It was a massive armada, sometimes with over 200 vessels and nearly 28,000 men. Think about the number that's the size of a small city, floating across the Indian Ocean. Their mission wasn't one of conquest. Instead, it was a grand display of China's power and wealth. They sailed to Southeast Asia, India, the Persian Gulf, and all the way to the eastern coast of Africa. They established diplomatic ties with over 30 kingdoms, demanding tribute not through force, but through overwhelming awe. When these foreign envoys saw the sheer scale of the treasure fleet, they understood the message. China was the center of the civilized world. The fleet returned with emissaries from distant lands and exotic treasures that dazzled the imperial court. This was gunboat diplomacy, but with treasure ships instead of cannons. Zheng He's voyages established a Chinese-led maritime order, a network of trade and influence that spanned half the globe, all achieved without colonizing a single inch of land. It was a unique moment in history, a different model of global power. But the emperor who sponsored these voyages wouldn't live forever, and with his death, the fate of the fleet hung in the balance. The political winds at the imperial court were about to change dramatically, setting the stage for one of history's most baffling decisions. To truly grasp the marvel of Zheng He's fleet, you have to understand the ships themselves. These weren't just boats, they were floating giants. The largest, known as Bao Chuan or treasure ships, were estimated to be over 400 feet long and 160 feet wide. Let's put that into perspective. Columbus's flagship, the Santa Maria, was a mere 85 feet long. You could have fit several of Columbus's ships onto the deck of a single one of Zheng He's treasure ships. This wasn't just a difference in size. It was a difference in technological eras. Chinese shipbuilding was centuries ahead of its time. These vessels featured innovations like watertight compartments. If one section of the hull was breached, the bulkheads would contain the flooding, preventing the entire ship from sinking. This is a technology European shipbuilders wouldn't adopt for another 400 years. The ships also had balanced rudders for better steering and massive multi-masted sails that allowed them to navigate the open ocean with incredible stability. And what did they carry? The fleet was a floating treasure chest, laden with China's finest goods, silks, intricate porcelain vases, and fine teas to trade and to give as gifts. On their return journey, they were filled with the wonders of the world. We're talking about spices from the Maluku Islands, precious stones from India and Persia, and exotic animals that had never been seen in China before. They brought back ostriches, zebras, and camels. The most famous of these was a giraffe, brought from what is now modern-day Kenya. In Chinese mythology, the giraffe resembled the qilin, a mythical beast that signaled the arrival of a wise and benevolent ruler. For the emperor, this living qilin was undeniable proof of his divine mandate to rule. These voyages weren't just explorations, they were a confirmation of China's place at the very center of the universe. So we have this incredible fleet, this technological marvel that projected Chinese power across the oceans for nearly 30 years. And then, it just stopped. After the 7th voyage concluded in 1433, the era of grand maritime exploration was over. But it wasn't just stopped. It was deliberately and systematically erased. The new emperor, influenced by a different faction at court, ordered the fleet to be decommissioned. The colossal treasure ships were left to rot in their harbors or they burned. Even more devastatingly, the official records of the voyages were destroyed. The detailed logs, the star charts, the maps that documented these incredible journeys all gone. Why this sudden, dramatic reversal? The answer lies in the shifting politics of the Ming court. The powerful Confucian scholar officials had long opposed the voyages. They saw them as an extravagant and unnecessary expense. They argued that China was a self-sufficient agricultural empire. Why waste vast sums of silver and resources on barbarian lands when that money could be used to feed the people, strengthen the Great Wall against Mongol threats from the north, and maintain internal harmony? To them, the outward-looking, commercially minded vision of the Yongle Emperor and Zheng He was a dangerous distraction. When the Yongle Emperor's grandson, the Xuan Emperor, took the throne, the Confucian faction gained the upper hand. They successfully argued for a return to traditional, inward-looking values. The order came down: destroy the ships and the records. China effectively sealed its borders, initiating a period of isolationism that would last for centuries. Imagine the knowledge that was lost. The maps of the world, the understanding of ocean currents, the shipbuilding techniques, all sacrificed in the name of political ideology. This single decision didn't just change the course of Chinese history, it changed the course of world history. With China's withdrawal from the world stage, a power vacuum was created on the high seas. Less than 60 years later, a European explorer named Christopher Columbus would sail west, heralding a new, very different era of global exploration, one driven by conquest and colonization. One can only wonder what the world would look like today if Zheng He's fleet had continued to sail. For centuries, the story of Zheng He's fleet faded into the realm of myth, a footnote in the grand narrative of Chinese history. With the official records destroyed, many even questioned if such massive ships and grand voyages could have ever truly happened. But in the 20th and 21st centuries, the story began to resurface. Marine archaeologists started discovering evidence. Wrecks of Ming-era ships, consistent with the descriptions of the treasure fleet, have been found in the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. Inscriptions and tablets left by Zheng He's men have been found in places like Sri Lanka and India, physical proof of their presence. Slowly, the pieces of this incredible puzzle are being put back together. In modern China, Zheng He has been resurrected as a national hero. His story represents a peaceful rise, a time when China led the world not through military force, but through cultural and economic influence. It's a powerful historical parallel for China's current global ambitions, like the Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to create a modern-day Silk Road connecting Asia, Africa, and Europe. Zheng He's legacy is no longer a forgotten secret, but a cornerstone of national pride and a symbol of a different path to global power. The enigmatic fleet may have been burned, but its spirit is being rediscovered, reminding us of a time when colossal ships from the east commanded the waves and shaped the destiny of nations. Zheng He's story is a powerful reminder that history is full of lost chapters and forgotten empires. The rise and fall of his treasure fleet shows how quickly a nation's destiny can change based on the decisions of a few. What do you think? Was destroying the fleet the biggest mistake in Chinese history? Or was it a necessary decision to protect the empire from within? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the lost world of China's maritime empire, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching.